Now you are ready to attach the drawer fronts. There are many different methods that can be used when attaching drawer fronts. The methods you see here are designed around a unique tool we found at Rockler that allows you to test how the drawer lines up with the doors before you actually use any screws. This tool can be purchased from RefaceSupplies.com as part of your toolkit, or it can be ordered separately from Rockler.com. To begin, you will first remove the old drawer and drawer front. Next, you will want to make sure to measure the current distance from each edge of the drawer front. Be sure to write down the measurements because you won't be able to go back and measure again once the old front is off. Removing the old front can be easy like you see here, or hard. It all depends on what was used to fasten the old front on. Some are held together with screws, others with staples, and yet others with glue. It gets a little more difficult if a combination was used. If you have difficulty removing a front, try to break it loose by carefully using a chisel and hammer. Slowly work your way around the perimeter until the front separates from the box. Once the old front is removed, place the box back in the hole and attach the Rockler clamps on both sides of the box wall. Place the drawer front into the guide and gently tighten the front clamps. Be sure not to apply too much pressure. Line up the front based on the measurements you wrote down earlier until all of the measurements are exact. Use the adjusters on the sides to lock the front in place. Once all of the measurements match, gently close the drawer to see how the drawer lines up. If it looks good, run your screws in from the back side of the drawer box. Please take note of where you placed your screws. Shaker and raised panel profiles have areas on the face which are thinner. If you run a screw into the grooves, you might accidentally run a screw through the front surface. There is no fixing a screw hole in the drawer front. The front will have to be reordered. Washers can sometimes be used as spacers if needed. Continue placing the drawer fronts until they have all been placed. Drawer fronts that are not attached to drawer boxes are often referred to as false fronts. If the front is connected with a hinge, it is generally referred to as a tip-out. The false front you see here is in front of a sink. This one is being attached using compression clips. This allows for the front to be removed for access to the sink bowl and plumbing connections. However you intend to secure the front, be sure that you double check your measurements before you start drilling holes for screws. Do not assume that the hole openings are perfectly centered to where the front needs to be. Always measure the overall space between fronts. the center of the front should line up with the center of the space between the fronts on both sides. Now that you have finished the fronts, you are ready for hardware.